There is a specific salary number most people spend their entire career chasing. It sits in the back of the mind like a finish line, a threshold where things will finally feel stable. For a long time that number was 50,000, then 75. For many it became 100,000. And the week most people finally cross it, something unexpected happens. It does not feel the way they thought it would. This is not a story about ingratitude. It is not about spending too much or saving too little. It is about something that happens inside the human brain when income rises. A quiet, automatic process the financial industry rarely discusses because understanding it does not sell products. What it sells is something far more uncomfortable: clarity. The psychological concept at the center of this is called hedonic adaptation. A raise that felt life-changing in March becomes the invisible baseline by June. The brain experiences income as a moving floor that rises with every gain. The space between where you are and where you feel you should be stays almost exactly the same. What accelerates it, what turns a salary increase into a financial treadmill, is lifestyle inflation. When income rises, spending rises with it. The entire architecture of modern consumer life is calibrated to absorb every new dollar. A better apartment becomes available. A slightly newer car becomes reasonable. Restaurants that once felt like a treat become a regular Tuesday. None of these decisions feel like inflation. Each one feels like a natural, deserved upgrade. That sense of earned entitlement to a slightly better version of life is the precise psychological response decades of marketing engineered to produce. In 1949, economist James Dusenberry documented what he called the relative income hypothesis. People do not measure financial well-being in absolute terms, but relative to the people around them. With social media making every financial comparison instantaneous and global, this effect has multiplied into something Dusenberry could not have imagined. And this is where the $100,000 threshold becomes particularly revealing. In 2010, psychologist Daniel Kahneman and economist Angus Deaton published a study on emotional well-being and income. Emotional well-being stopped improving significantly, beyond roughly $75,000 annually. But the sense of financial pressure did not consistently decrease as income rose. People earning twice the threshold did not feel twice as financially secure. They felt approximately the same level of financial unease. A 2021 study by Matthew Killingsworth showed higher income helped only for those who had decoupled their spending from their earning. Everyone else showed the same pattern: more money, same feeling. This is not a coincidence, it is the output of a system. The modern financial environment is an active landscape of behavioral architecture designed to capture income the moment it arrives. Subscription services are priced at the edge of psychological invisibility, small enough the brain does not register them as meaningful, numerous enough that they accumulate into a significant monthly drain that almost no one calculates in full. Premium tiers appear at every price point. Upgrade prompts target the exact moment a person's resistance to spending is lowest. This is not a conspiracy, it is an industry. What makes it particularly effective is that it operates on identity. People do not just buy products, they buy versions of themselves. The apartment in the better neighborhood is not just shelter, it is a statement about who you have become. The car with the slightly better badge is not just transportation. It is a signal sent to a social world that is always quietly watching. This is why financial advice focused purely on numbers rarely changes financial behavior. The spending was never really about the money. It was about the story the money was helping someone tell about themselves, and the story is expensive. There is a moment, usually quiet, usually late at night, where someone sits with their actual numbers and feels a confusion that is hard to name. The salary is real, the job is real, the effort was real, and yet the margin is thin. The sense of security that was supposed to arrive with a certain income level has not arrived. In that moment, most people conclude that the problem is them, that they are not disciplined enough, not good enough with money. That conclusion is the most expensive thing they will ever believe. The system that absorbed every raise, every bonus, every career advancement, that system is not visible from inside it. It looks like personal choices, it looks like lifestyle, it feels like freedom, and it is specifically designed to feel that way. The exit does not come from earning more. Every piece of evidence suggests earning more without understanding the mechanism simply accelerates the cycle. Recognizing that the finish line was never real, that the number was always going to move. The space between what you earn and what feels like enough is not a math problem. It is an architecture problem. And architecture can be understood, it can be named. Once you can see the shape of the thing that has been quietly absorbing every financial gain you have ever made, it loses a kind of power that it only ever had in the dark. The number was never going to be enough. But understanding why is the only thing that ever actually changes anything. You checked your account, the number didn't make sense. You hadn't done anything unusual, you just lived. The salary grew, the savings did not follow. The gap was filled with 1,000 small decisions that each felt reasonable. Every financial decision feels individual, personal, like a choice made freely. But the environment those decisions are made inside, that was built by someone else for a specific purpose. For most of human history, people compared themselves to neighbors they could see. Now the comparison pool is infinite. The brain cannot distinguish between a neighbor's house and a curated image designed by a marketing team. It registers both as real. The social comparison engine in the brain is older and more powerful than the rational financial self. It almost always wins. The research consistently shows these two lines, what you earn and what feels like enough, almost never converge on their own. Every storefront, every notification, every price drop is a small behavioral nudge, individually invisible. Collectively, they compose the financial life most people live. No single nudge determines financial behavior. The accumulation does. Buy now, pay later is not a new invention. The installment plan of the 1920s seduced an entire generation into spending income that did not yet exist. Every generation encounters the same financial trap wearing a different name and a newer interface. Most people do not have a spending problem. They have a system problem that presents itself as a spending problem. This reframe changes everything because systems can be studied, systems can be understood, individual failures just feel like shame. The shame cycle and the system cycle produce completely different financial outcomes from the same starting point. The same numbers look different when the question changes from "what is wrong with me?" to "what is the system doing here?" The quality of the financial question determines the quality of the financial answer. More income without systems understanding adds fuel to an existing fire. Understanding first gives the income somewhere to go. For most people, the lifestyle inflation zone consumes nearly all of every income increase before it ever becomes margin. Margin is not what is left over. Margin is what is protected first. That is the structural difference. The financial life most people want is not actually more expensive than the one they have. It is just structured differently. Same income, same expenses, different order of operations. The math produces a completely different result. The most expensive variable in personal finance is not interest rate or tax bracket. It is the time spent operating inside a system you do not understand. Every year spent inside the cycle unexamined is a year the compound effect works against you instead of for you. Financial institutions are not adversaries. They are profit-driven systems operating exactly as designed. Understanding how they are designed helps you navigate them, instead of being navigated by them. The goal is not to exit the financial system. The goal is to move through it with awareness of its currents. Awareness does not mean every small decision becomes a crisis. It means the architecture of spending becomes visible. Nothing about your life has to change dramatically, only your ability to see it clearly. The system does not disappear once you understand it, but it can no longer operate entirely without your knowledge. This is what the shift actually looks like, not a dramatic life change, a quieter relationship with money and what it has always been asking you to prove. When identity is no longer being purchased, the spending changes without effort. The budget was never the problem, the story was. The finish line does not have to move forever, but it stops moving only when you stop needing it to arrive. The numbers on the screen do not have to change for the experience of looking at them to change completely. Financial stress is not only a math problem, it is a perception problem built on top of a systems problem. Understanding precedes everything else. It is the first domino, nothing else falls without it. Most people will spend their entire lives trying to earn their way out of a feeling. The feeling was never about the income. The feeling of not having enough is not a symptom of low income. It is a feature of an unexamined relationship with what money is for. That question, asked seriously, for the first time, is where most people's financial lives actually begin to change. The number was never going to be enough, but that is not a tragedy. It is an invitation to stop organizing your entire financial life around a threshold that was always going to move. But understanding why is the only thing that ever actually changes anything.